Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope your day is going wonderful. Thank you so much for joining me. Well, it's the first Thursday of the month and I'm excited to share with you the brand new Make Yourself at Home kit. This is a card making kit from Hero Arts and Joann.com. They collaborated together to create this amazing kit, and it's only exclusive to Joann.com. You won't be able to find it at Hero Arts, just the Joann.com shop, and I'll leave the link down below. But it's pretty fabulous, and this kit is fully loaded and packed, and it has a great value. I'm going to show you everything that's in the kit in a picture. Sometimes when it's spread out, it's a lot easier to see. Let's take a look at it. You can see everything that was in the kit, and it's pretty amazing. I know we're going to create some fabulous cards. We're going to take a look real quick at all the contents, and then we are going to jump in and create some projects. First, we're going to go over the cardstock. And this kit, this is the Make Yourself at Home kit again. Not to be confused with Hero Arts' other kit. So, but you get 4 different colors of Hero Hues cardstock. Hero Hues cardstock is a great premium quality. It's heavy duty, so you can create card bases with it. And you get 4 different colors. They're trimmed down. These are trimmed down to 5.5 by 8.5 inch sheets, and you get 2 of each. So if you fold this in half, it will create an A2 size card. I'm going to check out the colors that these are. Using I have a little Hero Hues swatch sheet, so I can tell you the exact colors. I love this color palette. I think it's just says spring altogether. So I'm excited that we get this color combination in our cardstock. Now you also get a bold print cling stamp. This is a background stamp. It has a beautiful floral image on the back. It is a 6x6 cling stamp. It's red rubber. And this one here is called, if I can read it, this is called the Eucalyptus Bold Print. Love eucalyptus. Oh my gosh, it's one of my favorite scents. Okay. You also, this is in your Make Yourself at Home kit. So the value of this alone is great. Now you also get a 4x6 stamp set. This is a photopolymer stamp set. 4x6, and this is the Protea. The Protea Flowers Frame and Cut. I hope I'm saying that right. I may not be, but I think the flowers in here are pretty. They kind of have the shape of a artichoke, almost, sort of, but they are beautiful, and the sentiments in here are just as beautiful. And then you get the coordinating frame cuts to go with that. That will die cut out the flowers, and then I don't know if you noticed, but there's 2 bees in here too. And your dies, your frame cuts will cut out those 2 bees also. So you get that included in the kit, and then you also get a water flow brush, and then you also get a full-size jar of, this is like an eyedropper. And I love that. It'll come in a plastic bag to protect everything. But this is moss. And the nice thing about this is it's a little eyedropper. So if you squeeze the top here, it's squeezable. Then you can put this on your project or on an acrylic block, or use, control your drops basically, which is really nice. And you get a full-size jar of the moss liquid watercolor. You also get some inks. There's 4 inks included, which I think the value alone is just fabulous. You get taffy, lemon drop, fruit punch, and creamsicle. And these are reactive inks, so they work great with your water brush. If you add water to them, they will, you can watercolor with it, which I think is pretty amazing. So this is your Hero Arts and Joann.com Make Yourself at Home kit. I'm going to put everything aside and we are going to do some stamping. Okay, I trimmed down a panel. We're going to use that with our background stamp. This measures 4 inches by 5 1/4, so it's just a little bit smaller than my card base. And for this, we're going to start by creating a background. I think this is such a pretty background stamp. I'm going to grab my Misty, and then I'm going to ink up my stamp with my Versamark ink pad. And we're going to stamp on our kiwi cardstock. I'm going to press down really good. Wonderful. I'm going to lift this up and we're going to go over this background with white embossing powder. Okay, we're going to melt all of our embossing powder at once. Let me see it, kind of tilt it so you can see how pretty that is. While we have our large background stamp and our Misty, I'm also going to take my, I'm going to add some adhesive behind here, and this is just one of those panels that I trimmed in half. And again, I put adhesive behind here, and I'm going to flip it over to where my Misty is backwards, basically. And then this way it tacks down, and I'm going to just create a watermark. And that worked out great. That is so pretty. And that is our watermarked background. But this time I have, this is Bristol Smooth cardstock. I'm going to use this because I think it's going to ink blend really well with our reactive inks. You can use watercolor cardstock if you want, but I like how bright white this is. So we are going to open up the Protea flower, and it is gorgeous. And I'm going to bring in my mini Misty for this. I'm going to do a little bit of watercoloring. Whenever I watercolor, I like to emboss. This way, when I watercolor, it's just easier for me to stay in the lines. And I don't have to worry about it overflowing. I'm going to take both the bumblebees also. I'm going to ink up my flower, my Protea flower, with my Hero Hues. This is the Onyx Pigment ink. It is a sticky ink, which means I can emboss beautifully with it. And that's what we're going to do. Gosh, that's so pretty. Now I'm going to take my panel and go over this one with clear embossing powder. Okay, isn't that so pretty? Now I'm going to do one more image, and that is with our next flower. So I'll put another piece of Bristol Smooth cardstock. Let me go over this with clear. Now we are going to do our embossing. We're going to grab our heat gun. Now is the fun part. We're going to do some watercoloring, and I'm just adding some ink to a large acrylic block. I'm not sure what colors I want to use just yet. So we're going to add a color to everything. And then I'm even going to take some of my liquid watercolor, and I'm going to add a little bit of this to the very bottom. And then we can watercolor. I'm going to take my water flow brush. I already have one open, so I don't have to use my new one. But I'm going to start by coloring in the leaves. This is very easy to do. With the water flow brush, you can just squeeze it to get your bristles saturated. The more water, the less intense the color. Now, since this is watercolor, it does pull back a little bit. The watercolor ink pulls back more than your reactive inks. So I'm going to pick up some color and just go over our leaves here. And the lovely thing is there's a yellow included. So if you want to create a gradient, you can add yellow to your green leaves. Now, since this is not watercolor cardstock, you want to be sure to not go very heavy with your colors because it does oversaturate your cardstock. Okay, leaves are done, and now we can color in our beautiful flowers. And for this one, I think we want the pink here would be pretty. Both our flowers are good to go. I'm going to use my heat gun and speed up the drying process. Once my panels are dry, we're going to go ahead and die cut them out using our coordinating frame cuts. We're just going to line these up and run these, and along with our little bumblebees, through our die cutting machine. Once we have our florals die cut, they get die cut beautifully. I am going to be using these tags. This is the Hero Arts nesting tag dies, and we're going to create, let's see, we'll take the second largest tag, and I'm going to die cut it out with some white cardstock here. Okay, I went ahead and die cut out my tag, and then you can see I put some reinforcements here. There are two different sizes. We are going to start, I created a card base with our kiwi cardstock. I just folded it in half and reinforced that score line. We are going to take our background panel and we are going to add some tape behind it. And this is a card front panel, so it's going to cover our entire background. We're going to place that over our card base. Such a pretty pattern. Next, I'm going to take some twine. We're going to use some white twine. Our tag it here. Before we tie our bow with this, I'm going to stamp our sentiment. For this, I want to create a feel better card. So I'm going to pop up my feel better on an acrylic block, and then I'm going to use my pigment ink and stamp feel better over here on our tag. Lovely. Since I want my tag to go towards the bottom, I know there's going to be a little excess overhanging, but I do want to pop this up with some foam tape. Let's take our paper trimmer. Let's take our paper trimmer and trim off about 1/2 of an inch off of our tag. And then I'm going to add some foam circles behind our tag, and we're going to add this. This is going to go on our card base about 1 inch up from the bottom. And we're going to just put that straight edge on the side of our card. I'm going to go ahead and tie a bow with our white twine. Lovely. And we have a couple bumblebees we need to add. We're gonna pop these up with some foam adhesive. Once we have our little bumblebees adhered, I'm going to go ahead and sparkle up our card using my sparkle pen. I'm going to go right over the watercolor that we created. You want to be careful because if you use a sparkle pen, you can transfer the ink to your pen. And that will finish card number 1. For my next card, we're going to go ahead and take this tag die, and I'm going to die cut this out with our watermarked pumpkin cardstock, and I'm also going to die cut it out with our kiwi cardstock. And I did create a card base with my what color is our pink? With our peony cardstock here. So once we have our tags die cut, I did put some of my reinforcement, and then for this tag that we watermarked, and keep the excess, guys, because we're going to use that for our next card. We're going to add a little bit of glue around the top of our tag, and then we're going to add our peony, our larger peony reinforcement. I'm going to add a little more glue, and then we're going to layer a smaller white reinforcement over the top. Now after we have this done, I want to create a frame. So I'm bringing in my nesting rectangle dies, and I'm going to take 2 that are right next to each other in size, and then we're going to die cut out a very thin frame. So now we have a very thin frame. What I want to do is layer these 2 together. So I'm just going to add a little bit of adhesive behind my green frame. The green frame is where we're going to stamp our sentiment. So I kind of want to crisscross them a little bit, but I want to frame them in also. I need to put the yellow on the top, or I think I'm going to put my orange on top. I think because that's so pretty. Let's scoot it up a little bit. I'm going to add some adhesive behind my frame. Kind of position my tags where I want them to go. And then I'm going to add my frame. I'm going to remove the release paper off of our tags in the background, and then I did add a very thin strip over on the top of the frame since that is going to be overhanging. We're going to add our tags. Basically, we are going to center our frame here. Lovely. With this tag, I do want to tie a bow. I think that looks really pretty, and we'll add this one over here. And I'm going to break out my sparkle pen once more and add a little sparkle to our flower, and also to the bumblebee's wings. That finishes card number 2. Okay, for my next card, I die cut out some more tags using our tag die set. And again, this is the nesting tags die set. I thought we would create a background with this. So what we're going to do is add our reinforcements just using a little bit of glue. Once we have our reinforcements adhered, we're going to trim down our pumpkin watermark panel. And I'm trimming it down to 1 1/4 inches. And then we're going to add some adhesive behind, let's add some adhesive behind here. And then I'm going to fishtail the bottom end. And we're going to adhere this to the left of our panel. Now this panel, I just went ahead and stamped our background with my onyx ink and then heat embossed it. So it has a little bit of shine to it. I don't know if you can tell. But I did that off camera, and this panel is actually smaller than my card base, so it's going to give me a little bit of a border. We're going to flip this around, have a little bit of excess overhanging, so we'll just trim that off with our scissors. Okay, and then on this tag is where we're going to stamp our sentiment. So for this one, I want to stamp wishing you a beautiful day. For this one, I am going to tie some twine around our tag. I did decide to remove the peony tag that I created and throw in a little bit more green. And then we are tucking, we tied a bow with our sentiment tag, and then we are going to tuck the twine underneath our pink tag here. And then for this one, I do want to add some playfulness, so I'm going to use some Hero Hues enamel dots, and we're going to add just a few of our darker pink ones. There we go. And then that will finish that card. Lots of tags, but I thought it was a playful idea for a just because card. But these are the 3 cards that I made today with the Hero Arts and Joann.com Make Yourself at Home card kit. I hope this gives you some ideas and inspiration with this card making kit, and links are down below if you guys want to check it out. Have a wonderful rest of your day, rest of your week, and we will see you soon. Bye bye.